Hello and welcome to the New Horizons podcast. I'm your host Steve, and joining me we have got Colin.
Hi Steve.
So, the two of us are the showrunners, and the show is about the new incarnations of Star Trek. So, for the moment, this will be Star Trek Discovery, and in the future it will no doubt cover any new films and other series that come out. So, in the future we will be doing episode reviews every week. And before the release of Star Trek Discovery, we're going to be covering what we know so far. So make sure you tune in. But first of all, a little bit about us. So Colin, do you want to let our listeners know a little bit about you?
Yeah, certainly. Okay. I'll try and keep it brief. Yeah, I'm based in the UK, as you can probably tell from the accent. Slap bang in the middle of the country, in a place called Warwick, where we have a castle. So, just putting that out there, we've got a castle. I've been podcasting for... Actually, this will be the 10th year. 2017 will be the 10th year I've been involved in podcasting. So I've been around for a while. And yes, I do show my age. Been a Star Trek fan since I was 6 years old. Played Star Trek Online. Did play Star Trek Timelines, but I got bored of it. But yeah, I've done loads of Star Trek gaming, Star Trek books, Star Trek TV. I've got all the films. I've got memorabilia. So yeah, bit of a Trekkie, bit of a geek, bit of a nerd. And I hope that we can bring a view of Discovery that you probably wouldn't get anywhere else, because anyone that may have listened to this, if you want to check out what type of Star Trek podcasting I do, then if you go to Trek News and Views, then that will give you a good idea. Probably skip the first 5 though, because they're a bit rough around the edges. What about you, Stu?
Well, for Star Trek and even sci-fi, I sort of got into it sort of quite late. I was sort of 17 before I sort of started getting into it. It was actually Star Trek Voyager that attracted me to Star Trek, although I'd seen episodes of the original series, Deep Space Nine and The Next Generation that were on BBC Two, and again, I'm from the UK as well, because my brothers occasionally watched it when it was on, sort of at 6 o'clock, and I wasn't too into it then, but I started watching Voyager, and for me, them trying to get home to their families, I connected with that, because I was originally from Scotland, and at the age of 8, I sort of moved down to the southeast of England. So I sort of moved 600 miles away from all my friends and family. So to me, I had that sort of connection to their circumstance. So from about season 3, I started watching Voyager and got into Star Trek from there. And I think what really kicked off my fandom for it was actually Star Trek Online. I got a lot more involved in science fiction and then into podcasting, because there are a lot of Star Trek Online podcasts that were out, and sort of I started listening and getting involved, and then got very involved in podcasting. I've been involved in running and contributing to a lot.
Yeah, and we did a podcast before together. We did the Battlestar Galactica one.
Yeah, one of the podcasts is Frackstars, and I also appeared on Trek News and Views with you for a couple of shows as well.
Yeah, and Red Shirt Army.
Yep, Red Shirt Army. Tribble's the next C I've done. I've helped out with the G&T show and their book club. I've also helped out behind the scenes with Priority One. Oh, so many of them.
Yeah, and we've done a one-off episode of Technology.
Yeah, I also help out, produce and edit shows of the Gettysburg Address. I've appeared on Gatecast, Bat Radio, Starfinder, Straight Out of Gallifrey. Yeah, and I'm also starting another one for Babylon 5 called the Babylon 5 Cast that's due out soon as well. So get around.
Yeah, just a bit.
But
actually, if you're on Twitter, folks, we're both on Twitter, and one of the, because I'm COLMH01 on Twitter, by the way. And one of the things that we do on Twitter is me and Mike, who runs the Gatecast podcast, quite often take a mickey out of Stephen, calling the podcast whore. So there you go.
Yeah, Terry Lynn Shaw from the G&T show actually had that title because she did podcast UGC and the G&T show. Well, it wasn't long after I got into podcasting that I was involved in so many, I got given that title instead.
I'm sure Terry looks better in boots.
Indeed. But for me, just like with any geek, you go down to the pub and you're just with other friends that like science fiction shows. How many of you can say that you won't spend hours just talking about so many different aspects of it and how easy you find doing it, even if it's just complete strangers? Someone mentions Star Trek or Stargate or any of the shows that you've loved to watch, and before you know it, hours have just flown by. With podcasting, especially the shows that I get involved in, it's what it is. It's basically talking with your mates about things that you love to talk about.
Which is a nice segue, Steve, into what we're going to announce.
It is indeed.
Because if you want to talk about Star Trek, specifically Star Trek Discovery, then Steve has something you might like to hear.
We are actually looking for people to co-host the show with us. Now, as we said, we are from the UK, so if you're available for the UK evening, that would be beneficial. We are aiming to record on Tuesday evenings UK time, and we're specifically looking for a female voice as well. We don't want it all one-sided, especially given that there is a strong female presence in the cast as well. So we would like to share in Star Trek's equality and make sure that it's not just a male point of view that you get. So if you are interested in being a host on the show and you'd like to come and speak to us with an interview, then please get in touch with us and send us an email at crew@newhorizons.show, or you can get us on Twitter at New Horizons Cast, or you can get us on Facebook at New Horizons Podcast.
Men can apply as well.
Of course they can.
But there is stipulations on people coming on the show. Basically, you need to have a decent audio setup. You need to be able to have a stable internet, because obviously if you're dropping every 5 minutes, it kind of makes it hard to record. And you also need to have the ability to speak clear English. So that's not saying we're not adverse to people from whose first language isn't English, but we just need to know that me and Steve don't talk anything but English.
Indeed.
So typical Brits, basically, we only ever learn our own language, don't we?
Well, we haven't even learnt that properly.
No, that's true. I did try to learn French at school, but it all ended horribly.
The only thing I learnt for my French exam was I do not know the answer, which I just repeated for my oral exam.
I think the only thing I can remember is Parlez-vous anglais, which is basically, do you speak English? So there you go.
So if you are interested, then get in touch and we will look to speak to you, and we'll then take it from there.
Do you want to run through the contacts again?
Yes, you can email us at crew@newhorizons.show. You can get us on Twitter at New Horizons Cast. And you can get us on Facebook at New Horizons Podcast.
And you've got to be available Tuesday evenings, UK time. So what time are you thinking of recording Tuesday evenings, though?
UK time, it will be from 7:30 onwards. Star Trek Discovery will be released on Monday, UK time. So after the release on Monday, or Sunday for people in America and Canada, we will record on the Tuesday, so it gives people a chance to watch the episode at least once. And then we aim to release on the Wednesday. So it'll be a very short turnaround, but hopefully it means that once you listeners have actually watched the episode, you've got a couple of days and you can listen to what we think and any insights that we have. And we'll also be looking to get feedback from you guys as well. So we'll be asking you guys what you think at the end of each episode. So please make sure you contact us. Yes, I mean guys as in people, as Brits tend to do.
Yeah, we also call everyone mate.
Yeah. It's not gender specific.
No, it's just the way we talk.
Indeed.
So what's the planned release schedule then for the next couple of weeks?
So after this welcome episode, we are going to release a episode on the 6th of September, and we'll be covering what we think about the Federation and how it relates to Star Trek Discovery. And then on September 13th, we'll be releasing an episode where we'll talk about what we know on the Klingons and how we think things are going to work with regards to Star Trek Discovery and what we know with current canon.
And we should also point out that when we're doing the Federation cast, that's when we'll cover a lot of Federation races, so that's when we'll cover Sarek. So if anyone's wondering when we're going to do the Vulcans, it'll be in the Federation cast.
And then the week before the release of Star Trek Discovery, we'll be recording an episode for release on September 20th, which will cover our general views about where we think things are going and possible storylines, just ready for the first episode, which will be released on the 27th of September. Now, we are expecting 2 episodes to be released on the 25th of September and then on Netflix on the 26th for people in the UK and other European countries. So we will then have the second episode covered, which will be released on September 28th. So, as you can see, we've already decided we're going to talk about quite a lot. And again, if you already have views about any of those subjects, then please send us an email, contact us via Twitter, contact us via Facebook. And I'm sure by the time we get the first episode out, we'll be on even more social media channels as well. And anything that you email us or post us, we will have a look at it and we'll use those as points of discussion on those shows as well.
Yeah, and do get those thoughts and considerations in, folks. And like we said, we'll do hopes and aspirations in one episode. But it would be great to hear yours, because when it goes on its hiatus, which is, I think it's around about Christmas, it's going on a hiatus for a bit, we can then use your thoughts and feedback to do other episodes while we wait for it to come back. Also, while it's on hiatus, we'll discuss like the behind the scenes people, the directors, the producers, the musical score, and so on and so forth. So we've got loads to talk about. We've got loads of episodes. So when it goes on hiatus, we're not going to suddenly stop podcasting. So don't worry about that.
And as I said, just like if you're with your friends, you start talking about one part of it, it's easy to cover these subjects. And as you've heard with us waffling on, we don't have any problem. Just keep going.
Yeah. And also, if you want to like-minded Trekkies, doing a podcast enables them to find you on social media. And you would be, if you're not on social media already, then get on social media, because it's unbelievable the amount of Star Trek fans that are on social media.
Yes. And we don't just want to know from people who are Trekkies. If you're someone who has seen the trailer and you may have only seen parts of the Kelvin Timeline films, which are the films that have been released since 2009, if you're not too sure what Kelvin Timeline is, then please let us know if what you've seen so far has made you think, I'm actually going to give that a try. We would like to know your thoughts as well. We don't just want to know from people who have been watching Star Trek for 10, 20, 50 years, because you are sort of, hopefully, to be a fan of the show. And even if you're not a fan of the show, we still want to hear why you don't like it or what problems you have with it. Sort of any and all feedback we would love to get and actually talk about ourselves.
Yeah, because some of the people who've come into the Star Trek since J.J. Abrams took over the films basically are science fiction fans that just happen to be watching Star Trek. So, anyone who has a comment on this series in any way, shape or form, we just want to hear from you. The more the merrier. The more diverse, the better. That's Vulcan Idic would play nicely into that.
And if you want to keep anonymous, then just list in your feedback that you don't want to have your name called out. We'll just say we've had feedback from a listener. So if you're worried about being embarrassed or you just want to keep all your information private, then we will respect that too.
Yeah, if you do want to remain anonymous, just tell us what country you're in and we'll just say feedback from X country. Or if you're a gamer, you can use a gamer tag.
Exactly.
So, because on our Battlestar Galactica podcast, our third co-host never used his real name. So
Indeed. So, Colin, where can people find you on the interweb?
You can find me on Twitter, COLMH01. You can find me on there, or you can find me on Trek News and Views, which is the Star Trek podcast, which is still hosted on Trek FM. And the Twitter account for that is Trek News Views. So come along, send me an at, put hashtag Star Trek Discovery in there so I know it's to do with this. Or if you just generally want to say hello, just pop over and say hello. And you can also find me on Google Plus at COLMH01 on Google Plus as well. But Twitter's where I'm most active. What about you, Stu?
I'm everywhere. You can get me at Midnight Shadow 7. Midnight is spelt MIDNITE, and it's the number 7. And I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Google Plus, Star Trek Riser, and many, many more. So I'm sure you'll be able to find me. As I said, I get around.
Just a bit. Again, give them the contact details again if they want to be on the show or they want to write into the show.
You can get us at New Horizons Cast on Twitter, and you can get us on Facebook at New Horizons Podcast. And for email, it's crew@newhorizons.show. So that's it from us for now, and we will return on September the 6th. So we look forward to hearing from you, and until then, live long and prosper.
Or better still, live long and podcast.